Well, here we are in the middle of nowhere on a Tuesday afternoon. Because that is our property line. Well, you know, right there. Goes back like that. Goes back quite a ways. Would you about a half mile?
Yeah, it's a pretty decent hike.
Right, yeah. I think the property line is actually like 2,700 feet deep, which is pretty awesome. Lots of big trees, monstrous trees. So the first thing we got to do is pick out a driveway, right? There's no entrance here. This is completely raw land. So you can see our property line's way down there, and it goes to way up there. But as you can see, there's a ditch over there, and then a ditch over here. And what y'all can't tell is that it goes downhill pretty good this way and a little bit that way. And it's right here that it's pretty flat. So we thought this would be a great place to put our driveway in because we might not need a culvert. Top is right about here, but we want to go through there. We don't want to get rid of these trees. So you can see there's a giant stump, but there's kind of a break in the big trees, and we have some very big trees. There's a break in the big trees right about here. We thought this would be a great place to go in. So this is where we want the property to go in. So we're going to try and figure out how to make the driveway go in here somehow. All right, so we're doing a 40-foot arc. You see this? This whole bushel here is giant thorns.
So Cade had the tripod all set up nicely to conform to the little bank on the side of the road with one of the legs shorter than the other ones. And when I switched out the camera, I did not realize that. So I just set the tripod down and the short leg was in the wrong spot. So the camera fell over.
And we didn't even notice. So here's what we got done. You're starting to actually see our driveway path, right? That looks pretty decent. So the plan is to come in and hook. There's a grove of baby pines there, and then hook back. And what we want is a driveway where you can't see the house from the road. So that's what we're doing.
Well, because we started staking everything out, but it was really thick and there was a lot of bramble and it was taking a long time. And we were running into spots where we were trying to stay close to the property line, but we have very few markers to actually map out the property line, so we were getting too close and sometimes overcutting, so we'd have to come back and reroute. And we have a lot of really big trees that we don't want to take out.
That's good.
I'd rather curve our driveway around them than take them out and cut the driveway straight through. So we were trying to be mindful of those. And also we only have a certain amount of tape and our driveway is very long. So.
Yeah, it's about 900 feet of driveway. Holy cow. That's a long walk. So Misha's taking her time. I tried to run with the camera. There she is. So this is the stuff we had to fight through. And I gotta tell you, that little hedge trimmer, the 40-volt hedge trimmer, it's like an electric machete. I'd say no effort at all, but it wore me out. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of heavy. Well, for me, it's kind of heavy. But it does get through all of the thicket, which is really nice. It's much better than working with like a machete or something like that. But we did have to fight for every inch of it. We thought about the cost of us renting a bulldozer ourselves and bulldozing, which we have never done before. So there would be a learning curve and we would not be able to work as efficiently or as effectively as someone who's been doing it for a long time. You know, this is just getting too complicated. Let's just simplify it a little bit. 1, 2, 3. See, it wasn't that easy.
So there you go. We have a driveway. We were gonna DIY it, and one of our neighbors had the equipment and said, yeah, you know, I'll do it for X. And X was a very reasonable number, so we said, yay! What do you think?
I think it turned out great. I love it. We can't see where the house is going to be from the road, which is what we wanted. It kind of winds gradually and it didn't get rid of any of the trees that we really like, so I'm super happy with it.
Yeah, 860 feet of driveway, and we're only 2/3 of the way, or 1/3 of the way to the back of the property. All right, so as you can see, we have an entrance to our driveway now. We got one of our neighbors to carve a path through the woods. We marked the path and he did an excellent job of that. He is a contractor, and so we got him to bring in just a little bit of gravel. He worked with the state. We have a permit to be on the road, and we have an entrance to our property now, which is good because it's been raining a lot and maybe we would sink into the mud. Thankfully, our dirt is very loamy and does not hold water, so that has worked out well.
So our neighbor did a really great job clearing out the land and making a really nice driveway that we really love, and we're so appreciative, and he did it for a really reasonable price. The issue that we have is that the driveway is not yet finished, and so we have a lot of these roots and things that kind of stick up all up and down the driveway. So just things that weren't knocked out by the bulldozer, the box blade, whatever he used on it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to try and get rid of some of these roots that are sticking up. There's nothing that we can't drive over, but the van sits pretty low and we don't want to be knocking stuff around against the bottom of the van. So we're just going to come in and clear out some of the stuff that sticks up. Well, we made it. This is the spot on the property that we call the T, because this is where our driveway dead ends into a crossroad that's a tractor trail. This is where most of the infrastructure is going to be, aside from the house, our shop, our barn, greenhouse, garden area is going to be over here. So it was really important to us to be able to get gear, tools and supplies and stuff back here, so we needed to be able to get the van back here. So success, we got it fully cleared, we got the van all the way down here, and it's after a huge rain too. So I'm super excited that we were able to get our little minivan back here without four-wheel drive or anything like that. We didn't get stuck once. The driveway is good and solid, even though it's not finished out yet. So I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, what this means is once we add gravel, we won't have to worry about washouts, right? The ground is still very solid. I mean, we'll compact it a little, probably with some equipment as we bring it back here. But very little buildup will be needed. The ground is very loamy. The water went away. We got like 4 inches of rain yesterday and no standing water, nothing.
So this we put down as a pretty close approximation of our property line. But as you can see, there are no fences. There's a lot of brush going this way, and this is the direction that we need to run our fence. So today we're going to try and get through all of that brush with a laser pointer, and cut through all the brush as we go and get as straight a line as possible. We do have some markers that the surveyor put in place when he came out and surveyed the property, so we know where our exact boundary lines are. We just have to create a straight line that we can run a fence on.
So we do have a fence on one side of our property because the neighbors have set up the fence line. So this fence line that you can see here behind me is our property line and the neighbor's property line. It does not extend that way. We need to extend that way about 900 feet. So we bought a little laser, one that you can turn on and it stays on. We're going to put this on a tripod down the fence about 100 feet, and then we should be able to use this laser to point through the woods. And we'll just carve a path through the woods about us wide, 3 feet wide. And that'll give us where our fence line needs to go. And it will be as straight as this fence line all the way down. Okay, now when we do this, we need to make sure we do not look at the laser because we're going to turn it on. You don't want to stare into it. I'm not talking to the people, I'm talking to you, Misha. So you can point down that way and you can see it on the post. You should be able to see it on the post. So now, cue the montage and cue the music.
Look at the topography and the trees we want to keep, of course.
The trees she wants to keep.
Play a big part in our choices going forward.
That's not true. I want to keep a lot of the trees too. I love the trees.
But,
I'm making a joke at her expense.
Of course, always.
What happened to your face, Misha?
Oh, yeah, I did take a rock to the face while I was using the brush cutter. I don't know if you can tell in the time lapse. I started cutting brush, and at one point I disappeared because I was not wearing my iPro, and I remembered, and I went and got it, and then I came back, and like as soon as I did, I took a rock to the face. So I'm glad I was wearing my safety glasses. So
the moral of the story is when you don't wear your safety glasses, nothing happens?
Everything's fine. It's a twig and berries.
And that's the woman I love.